and we'll do some introductions, which might take the whole hour with the wonderful dream team lineup we've got for you this evening. Okay, we're just about to go live on YouTube. We have with us Christina from EI this evening. Great to see you, Christina. Introductions. Let me just pause that. We don't want to hear it twice. Fantastic. So we are live on YouTube now. Got it. Right. Christina, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to be really quick with everybody. Thank you so much for being here from EI. How is everybody at the office after that lovely team building trip to Amsterdam recently?
Well, everybody's lining up to be part of the dream team because they are all jealous of this shenanigans that happen here. So that's what happened. We were also happy that we just want to take part of everything A does.
Brilliant. Okay, so we've got a queue forming to join the dream team every Thursday evening between 9 and 10. Thank you. So here to answer questions about all things migration to Portugal, that will be Christina. In no particular order, we've also got Jacqueline Mullen from Mortgage Direct as well. Good evening to you, Jacqueline. In Brazil tonight, are we? In Rio?
Yes. Good evening, Carl, from Rio de Janeiro.
Fantastic.
Brazil.
And how are you this evening?
Very well, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, very good, very good. So you're here to answer questions about financing those properties here in Portugal. So thank you for being here to do that. Probably got your dancing shoes on, ready to go out dancing after the session, if I know you. We've got Michael, Dr. Michael Averbuk is here. He's just in a cracking session.
Hello.
Michael, that was superb. An hour and a half.
Thank you.
About the do's and don'ts of transferring your medical care from wherever you're coming from to Portugal. Great session. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And we'll ask you about whiskey in a little while. Not the drink, but the dog. I hasten to add. We've got Wiley with us. Lovely to see you, Wiley. Please give a brief introduction to yourself and tell us how you are this evening.
Oh, I'm so well. Thank you so much. My son missed my birthday, so he just surprised me with a birthday dinner. So I'm running in late here, but I'm so grateful to be here. I work as a buyer's agent, predominantly Qashqai's and 20 kilometers in each direction, but that's the specificity of my range.
Superb. Great to see you here. Belated birthday wishes from us as well. So I hope you had a lovely dinner this evening and a lovely birthday whenever that happened. Wonderful. Let's stay with the buyer's agents. Let's go to Peter van Noonen as well this evening, who's with us. Where are you, Peter? Central Portugal or the capital?
Close to the capital in Alcochete tonight. So that means that we're having some business in Lisbon coming up, right?
Fantastic.
So yeah, we are buyer's agents for Portugal.
Wonderful, wonderful.
It's very summarized, but that's what it is.
And your Alcochete dream home is looking very lovely behind you there. That's not a Zoom backdrop, is it? That's your actual
almost ready.
Wonderful. Lovely to see you here this evening, and best regards to Elise
you
as well. Last but by no means least, Sarah Davey from Spartan FX. Good evening to you, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah from Spartan FX. We specialize in currency, so we help move your money to Portugal. We make that process cheaper and easier for you, whether you're buying a property, paying for your visa, paying lawyers' fees, just topping up your local account. We just help manage those exchange rate fluctuations to try and help control your budgets and just make it easier to move your money.
Superb. And I think you had quite a nice testimonial delivered to you today, didn't you, in the office?
We did. I mean, fortunately, we've been getting some lovely reviews, especially from expat Portugal members. But the funny one today, the woman said, if Carlsberg did foreign exchange.
That's a bit of a British reference, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah, it means that they are the proverbial dog's Watsits when it comes to currency exchange. So thank you very much for being here tonight. All the best to the team when you see them tomorrow, Sarah. Let's have a look and see who's in this evening. We've got Barack is with us from Texas. Again, thank you for being here for the Dream Team session. As well as the
you've missed we've got the amazing Daniel here as well.
We so have, haven't we? Now
and we have Nuno here as well.
Oh,
so,
I was about to protest, but I was just letting Carl go on, and I would protest midway.
It was beard jealousy. It was beard jealousy all along. Daniel, how are you this evening? Thank you, Astrid.
Thank you very much.
Our legal man in Lisbon. How are you? What's been going on? What's going on in Lisbon?
Well, Costa did some announcements today, so the fun and games are midway. Let's see what's the proposal that is drafting and delivering to the parliament. But AL, golden visas, and the rentals are a hot topic at the moment.
Wonderful. And these are my habitation legislations, are they? That
Correct, that's
we're
it.
talking about. Well, you may
Yep.
have questions about that. Thank you, Daniel. I'm so sorry to overlook you. And you as well, Nuno. There are just so many people here from the Dream Team tonight. Nuno, you're here. How are you?
Yeah. I'm starting thinking on talk with Daniel to issue Carl, but but it's not necessary. No, all
Yes.
good, all good.
Okay.
Some
Yeah.
announcements to do.
I would have been served halfway through, I think, if that had continued. So thank you, Astrid. Barack is here from Texas. Laurie's saying, Christina's my gal. So a supporter here for you tonight, Christina. Hello from Charlottesville. That's from Ken. Hi, Ken. Hi, Christina. Hello from Pasadena, from Erica. And good morning, everyone. Wow, from New Zealand. That's fantastic. From Seattle, Izato is here. Good evening, everyone from a wet Glasgow. Hi, Christina from Derek. Lots of your fans here tonight, Christina. And we've also got Alison and Michael in Texas as well. And James, good news from James. Hola from Estoril, just returned from the US with our visas. Woohoo, says Connie. Connie, the host of the meetup, the Expats Portugal meetup that was mentioned earlier on, is here tonight as well. Lovely to see you here, Connie. Now, have we got any questions? Gail, 10 chilies from New Mexico. Okay, you've got a 10 chili award, Daniel. 10 chilies from New Mexico for Daniel Reyes' legal team on helping with the Giles and Miller combo with the first steps on our new house purchase. That's the sort of thing he does and does very well and gets a 10 chili award for that. We could not have done it without your professional expertise and Spartan FX testimonial for you for facilitating transfer of funds, coordinating with them too, and EI for NEFs and soon to be with D7 applications. Talk about Dream Team. Looking forward to connecting with Nuno and Serenity in the next week or two as well as we proceed with steps and Expats Portugal's Dream Team too for facilitating these webinars. So thanks from you and thanks to you, Gail, for that. Let's go to Christina on this matter of D7 applications. CEF relaunching on Saturday on the 1st of April and threats of them going on strike. Can you give us an update about CEF, please, Christina?
Oh yeah, apparently they are going on strike from the 5th. And well, we kind of understand them and we kind of support them because apparently the little guy at the office doing all the paperwork still doesn't know what's going to happen.
That's awful, isn't it?
Yeah. So welcome to Portugal, people.
However, that said, and that's somewhat cynical intervention there from Christina. You are doing your best, aren't you, to fill up the gaps where there's a shortfall between the clients looking to come to Portugal and the difficulties they might be facing with that transition for CEF. There you are, ringing them up and finding the hacks in the system really to help them with that process.
Yeah, definitely. And whenever, well, phones normally don't work when we are talking about the SEF. So most of the times we have our attorneys on their doors like, hey, what's going on?
Knocking on the door and getting answers
if
for
we
quick
can get
line.
any answers. Yeah.
Fantastic. And on the business front then, still lots of interest and love for Portugal. We're just seeing that rise and rise, are we, Christina?
I do. It's like Portugal, we must have honey or something like that because all the people are coming. But hey, we are a great country, great weather, great people. We have these little, kinks to work on, but hopefully with this restructuring, I keep telling this to all my clients, there will be a learning curve. It's not going to be straightforward or smooth sailing from then on. There will be a learning curve, but we are all very hopeful that as soon as the processes are streamlined and organized throughout the other entities and whichever entity is going to arise in its stead, it's going to work very well. And from then on, then it's going to be smooth sailing, or at least that's what we are hoping for.
Smoother. Yeah, nowhere's perfect. No one's perfect, but we're moving towards that, aren't we? Hopefully in the right direction there. Superb. Thank you very much for that. And we'll come back to you. And I don't know if you can give us a Mandela moment around the 1:30 mark. Not yet. Let's hold that tension.
I don't have a Mandela, but I have 2 cats that I can try and bring in here and see if they want to cooperate.
Yes, possibly. And maybe send Gilda a text if we can bother her to find out how Mandela is this evening. Question for Spartan from Connie. Sarah, can my US Social Security monthly payments be set up as an auto deposit to my Spartan account? They are currently auto deposited to a US bank. So can you organize that?
It depends. We've had varying degrees of success. Some people have been successful in doing that and some haven't. So I think it would just depend. But we can speak to you about that and see if you can set it up. Otherwise, it would have to go into your account and then send on. I think some they won't send to a third party. So I think we'll have to double check that.
Okay, and that's worth having a call then to the office to figure out the personal circumstances and finding a workaround.
Yes.
Very good. Excellent stuff. Thank you, Sarah. We'll come back to you in a little while, I'm sure. Erica, thank you for your comments this evening. Greetings, expats community. I'm not sure if you've got a question in there, but if you could distill that for me, condense that into a question, that would be fantastic. And I know it's around family reunification, but if you could help me out there, that would be great. We've also have a question from Gail. Is there strike insurance? Are you working on that, Nunu, for public workers in Portugal? I don't think that can be covered, can it? Bit too complicated.
No.
Okay.
We have something similar for film production.
Oh, okay, but it's not extended.
Only for film production.
Only for film production for the time being. Okay. Worth a try, Gail. To Barak, a question for Christina. I have a hypothetical. So it's like asking for a friend. So if you purchase a house in the center of Portugal, and it's for 280,000 euros, I think that qualifies for the golden visa. We can also put this to Daniel as well. If we do that in September of this year and do not plan on moving there till 2026, how does that affect the visa? How does that affect the NHR and all of the nuances associated with the full visa process? So this is a good hypothetical here. Would you like Daniel to pick that up, or do you want to address that, Christina?
I think I'll address that.
This is all Daniel.
Okay, over to you, Daniel.
Well, there's a lot to unpack over there. But just buying a property for 280K won't cut it for the golden visa. I will tap into the changes that the Portuguese government will introduce, but the 280K in a low density area is a combination out of the property purchase plus a renovation agreement. Usually it's a division between 200K for the property, 80K for renovation, or 200K, 250K for the property, 30K for the renovation. But indeed it entails a renovation. Regarding the NHR, if the applicant is not in Portugal, so as Barak said, they didn't move to Portugal, the NHR cannot be requested because it entails the applicant living in Portugal and being a tax resident. So having a golden visa is usually not compatible with having the NHR, because if the person really wanted to live in Portugal, there's usually other ways to migrate to Portugal, like the D7, D2, or any other types of visa that Christina usually handles. Finally, it seems like the golden visa is really coming to an end. The Prime Minister did announce it in November. He did emphasize it on the 16th of February. The Habitation Minister has said it in the meantime, and the Costa, the Prime Minister, said it today again, that they will end the golden visa program. The only underlying question is when, because what the government is putting forward is that the golden visa program ended on the 16th of February. This doesn't make any sense because the law is making retroactive changes. So the view that I have is that the golden visa program will end eventually once the law is approved and once it goes to Parliament and once the president accepts the law, or if it doesn't go to the Constitutional Court. But I would say that for a property that is not yet purchased and a renovation that is not yet agreed, having a golden visa at this time may not be the best scenario possible. Nothing impedes, though, the Barak from buying the property and in 2026 moving to Portugal, and at the time requesting the D7 or any other type of visa. And in the meantime, he can have the property as a holiday home once he wishes to just spend a few days in Portugal. That's basically the standpoint that I have at the current moment on the golden visas. It's a bit of wait and see on what's the final text of the law.
That is wonderful, Daniel. Thank you. And I think it addresses Ken's question. Is the golden visa dead yet? No, not quite yet.
Not quite yet.
Not
The
quite
law
yet.
hasn't changed yet. It will, but the law hasn't changed yet. Regarding Mike's question, I'll put my email in a second on the chat window.
Oh, that's terrific. Thank you very much for that. Let's stay in central Portugal. Let's go with this hypothetical situation and ask Peter what sort of service you can offer, Peter, for somebody like Barak who wants to source a property for 280,000 euros. You would go searching for such a property on behalf of a client like Barak, I take it, Peter.
Yeah, sure. We would love to, Carl. So what we do is we sit together with the client. Sometimes it's virtually, sometimes it's in person here in Portugal. Depends on where people are, of course. And then we start to work on a plan. And of course, the property is the central piece of the plan. And if it's in central Portugal, the north or the south, that really doesn't matter. Although we have a special a connection with central Portugal, as we live there ourselves near Coimbra, so we know the region very well. And what we can do is prepare everything, set up first a search plan, and then reach out to the realtors to check on the properties that we have selected with the client, and then eventually do the scheduling of all the viewings. Sometimes clients are here in Portugal themselves. That's what we prefer, of course. Sometimes due to all kind of restrictions and all kind of logistics, they prefer to stay where they are, and then we can be their eyes and ears. So we do a lot of video viewings and stuff like that. But happy to dive into that in more detail offline, of course.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Peter. Capricorn Chris is saying, hi to all the panel. I'm really looking forward to the session tonight. Health, money, insurance, immigration, property, and ALs. This is going to be a hot one. It is a hot one tonight. And we're going to go to Rio to prove that and talk to Jacqueline. This 280,000 euro place, it might be that somebody's got the cash to buy that, but they might want to think about financing it anyway, Jacqueline, to free up some money for investment in other things. How are things in the mortgage world? I've given quite a bumpy ride in the world of banking just recently. Can you give us an overview and then maybe look at a case study of buying a property for 280,000 in central Portugal?
Well, if you want me to also include the part of the golden visa, I think that, and I think Daniel can confirm that, and also Christina, is that the golden visa implies that you bring your own money, but you could top it up with a mortgage and then you can buy a bigger property.
Right.
So
okay. Nice hack. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's how we can actually, well, you can still be eligible for the golden visa regulations. I'm not a specialist on the subject, but I do know that the whole point of it is that, fresh money is flowing into the country, and the bank's support in that, of course, is Portuguese money.
Yes.
So that's why you couldn't use, if you want to buy 280,000 and you want to borrow 200 something thousand, which could be potentially possible, then you wouldn't be eligible for a golden visa. But you could go to a 480,000 property and borrow the additional 200,000 for that. So then you would still, have a bit of both, and you would have a bit more space in your property. In terms of what's happening with the banks, it's quite the eventful last couple of weeks, days, things happening. I can't vouch for all of that. I can't and I think it's also beyond scope of today's session. I'm happy to say no bank in Portugal tipped over, nor in Europe, at least not in the countries that we're operating in, Spain and Europe. And I think some of the questions I get, which is interesting, is that people are always surprised how many documents they have to present to the Portuguese banks. And I think anyone who's a bit in the Portuguese system knows that it's just, you need to jump through a lot of hoops document-wise. So it's quite bureaucratic. At the same time, the banks need to comply with all kinds of rules set out to prevent banks from tipping over. So that's an outcome of 2008 crisis, which means that, yes, for someone who's applying for a mortgage here, the bank has zero usually understanding who you are and how you handle your finances. So they're going to ask for quite some documents. But some good positive to share on that is that one bank specifically, so one product that we can offer, they have extended the term again. So before or most banks and still are on that page, they wouldn't, they would want you to have paid off the mortgage by the age of 75. But one of them has reopened again the opportunity for clients to have the mortgage until the age of 80.
Oh,
But you have to be a
excellent.
minimum of 50. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can be too young. So 50 and up, everyone is eligible, and you can have a mortgage until the age of 80. So for example, if I didn't do out the numbers, so please don't question me on that
No,
call.
fair
I
enough.
have to
Fair enough.
plug them in, but I can do it. If someone else is, I can do it in the meantime. But so imagine if someone is in their early 60s, and then normally you could have a mortgage for 15 years. And then the bank, with all their due diligence, are going to check how is your income in correlation, how much the mortgage is going to cost. And of course, if the mortgage is for 15 years, mortgage payments are higher. So if we can now extend it to 20 years, there's more scope for people to borrow against the income that they have. And their monthly payments, of course, are also going to be lower than if they have a term that is shorter, like 10 or 15 years. So that opens up some doors for some people where they might not have a mortgage option. Or let's say someone is already at the end of their 60s, they could have a mortgage now, where before it would be impossible, because in 5 years, mortgage payments with most amounts are quite substantial. And then, yeah, you wouldn't be able to afford a mortgage as such. So
Amazing. I'm so glad I asked you for that wider context there. That's wonderful. Thank you, Jacqueline, for that.
Yeah.
And good to hear that despite the instability and concerns of people, offers are still being made, deals are still being done, and all seems to be going according to plan here in Portugal.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people asking for mortgages. So there's still, even though interest rates have been higher as they have been for the last couple of years, I think they were unhistorically and unrealistically low. So that's, of course, the benchmark against which people are comparing it to. But if we take everything else in consideration, we're not looking at those. For some people, it might be still, fresh on the mind. We're not looking at a situation we had in 2008, where a lot of things were collapsing and falling apart. And I think the banks around the world had a big wake-up call from that. So you see that the measures in place since then are really making sure that consumers are much better protected than ever. So also from the Bank of Portugal, there's a lot of you as a consumer quite protected to make sure, one side, because the banks have to do a lot of due diligence to make sure you qualify for the mortgage, which involves, all the paperwork.
Yes.
But that's the biggest step that you have to take as a client. After that, it's easy sailing, at least when we're involved, I think. And so that whole due diligence has served a purpose and is protecting clients at the same time. And at the same time, there's also a lot of protection that came into effect after that horrible year, or horrible years, if you want to frame it. So I think there's much more sturdiness in the system as a whole. It doesn't mean that some individual banks are still being quite negligent, but they're at least not part of the Portuguese system. So within Portugal, there's quite some restrictions on lending and what can be done, and the policies making sure that we don't repeat what we saw some
That's
years
very
back.
reassuring. Thank you for that, Jacqueline. Thank you for that analysis. And please put your details in the chat so that people can get in touch with you.
Sure.
Drop you an email if they want to carry on a conversation with you about financing their property. I think pets are appearing now. We're nearly at the 50 mark. But I need to speak to, thanks, Jacqueline. I need to speak to Wiley, because I purposefully chose not to ask Wiley about property for 280,000 euros in Cascais. It's not going to happen, is it? Well, how are things in Cascais as the epicenter of the powerhouse of Portuguese growth, Wiley?
Craziest thing. I was with the client. I sold a house to him a couple months ago. He's ready to decorate. So I took him to one of the tile stores here. Literally every person in the store was English speaking. Every client in there was English speaking. And I went over to my salesperson. I'm like, what is going on? He's like, this is the craziest thing. All week, it's been purely English speakers coming in to do the renovations. So I did try to do a search the other day for someone who is a 200,000 to 300,000 client. We came up with 2 properties.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 2 properties that weren't ground floor and were within walking distance to the beach. So that's that was good for her. It was good for her and one of them I think we'll move forward on. But it's not a big range. When people say those numbers to me, I get very sad because I think I'm not going to be able to find you something that's going to be, worth it for you.
Yeah.
But certainly, add, multiply that by a lot. And there's many, many, many homes available. And another client said to me, I'm going to start at 1.8. And I said, why is 1.8 a number for you? And she said, anything below, there's too much competition. I'm going to have to make a decision too quickly. And I don't want to play the game. I want to take my time. I'm going to start with 1.8 and go up.
Wow. Good time for sellers then.
Yeah, the prices are inflated. I mean, I even have some of my own sellers who are like, we're going to ride this wave.
Yeah, but there is inventory. The good news I'm hearing there is increased inventory and more property coming onto the market.
But certainly at higher numbers.
Yes, point taken. But still, you're able to get somebody in the bracket of 250 to 300,000 in Qashqai. Good work, and very reassuring. Good work, and very reassuring for some people. Thanks, Wiley, for that little insight into the. It's another world in Qashqai, isn't it? It's its own category. Let's face it, isn't it? It's not necessarily representative of all of Portugal.
No. It's not. And my paddle teacher keeps saying that to me. He's like, you guys have no idea. You live in a bubble. And until you drive outside of this bubble, you will not understand the bubble you live in.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you say you're paddle ball or you're pickleball?
Paddle.
You're a paddle, not a pickle. Okay, fair enough.
I'm both, but I prefer.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. And those are equally crazes that are sweeping Portugal as well, aren't they? And you can do both. You don't have to choose. That's good to hear.
Absolutely.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you for the time being. Wonderful. Erica, thank you for distilling your question for Christina. I've applied for citizenship via my parents being Portuguese born and will apply for husband/daughter after I get approved. But what is the interim visa application if we want to move before their citizenship gets approved? Family reunification is the question.
Probably, I would say that the best is for you to just get in contact with us. We'll set up a consultation and we will try to figure out which exactly will be the best type of visa for your situation.
Okay, Erica, sorry to laugh, but I hadn't seen that Christina is doing an input. Have I not seen you in a James Bond film?
Yes, you have.
Okay. Okay, we're at the half past mark. It's time to check in with everybody's pets. I won't be forgiven if I don't do this. So who is that, Christina, and how are they?
This one is Phoebe.
Yeah.
She's new. She has 6 months. She is very friendly. Hello, say hello.
She's a little beauty.
Hello.
Okay, one of at least two by the sound of it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. How is Mandela? Can you tell us how Mandela is? Because
no, Mandela is okay. I think he's going to be at an hotel. I don't think he will be joining Gilda on her trip. So.
Oh, so we won't be happy about that. Okay, so if anybody wants,
you'll be getting special treatment, definitely.
Yeah, right. That's what I was about to say. If anybody wants to send a present to Mandela to cheer him up while Gilda's away, you can do that to the EI office. I'm sure the postman is used to that now. Daniel, who have you got with you?
Well, this little one is called Onda, or the translation would be wave, because I do name my dogs maritime names, so or connected with the beach. This one is Wave. Her daughter is Mare, as in tide. The bigger one that showed that appeared in one of the past shows is June. So I have 3 at the moment. So it's I keep it beach maritime names to the dogs. I like it.
So we've got Onda Wave, which is Wave, Dunash as well, and what was the other one? Mare.
Mare as in tide. Mare is tide.
There you go, some Portuguese vocabulary for you, as well as a pet check-in tonight. I got to ask Dr. Michael as well, how is whiskey? Not the drink, but your pet, Golden Labrador.
Wow.
Is he still here, Dr. Michael? He might be able to rest after the last hour and a half we put him through.
Actually, he's just walked by. You didn't pay attention, so he went.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've got the big view. I'm not seeing everybody's pets here.
Look at Mike. Okay. Mike, sorry, the other Mike. He has I would say maybe, sorry, not to insult you, like a cow.
This is
okay. We've got to draw the line somewhere.
No,
we can't.
This is a huge den.
Yes, we've got to draw the line.
He's gorgeous.
Cats and dogs, please, only. No.
Next time, I promise you whiskey on a close-up. He just went kind of
Okay,
tourist.
but whiskey as well. People need to know this sort of information, as well as all the other juicy information about visas, health, insurance, mortgages, and so on, and the law here in Portugal. Thank you very much, folks. Let's go to, we did your question, Erica, from James in Estoril, just down the road from you in Cascais there, Wiley. EI, my brother's CEF appointment was scheduled and presumably took place before his D7 visa was even issued last week. How difficult is this going to be to fix? We want to use EI for both of our CEF appointments, and so you should. But what happens in this situation, Christina?
Well, that's very, very odd. Maybe, and just maybe, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but this thing kind of happens often. Are you seeing the date correct? Because we switched the day and the month. So maybe you are just seeing it backwards, but in any case, just email me, send me the visa and the appointment, and I will sort that out for you. If it was indeed booked for a date even before your visa was issued, then that would be a really big mess up, but there's a way to go around it.
But what a fantastic response. And I'm going to reframe that as not the wrong way round, but the American way round. Okay. So other ways of expressing dates are available. And you may have fallen foul of that, James. Wouldn't that be wonderful if that turns out to be the case? Fantastic. Maybe get in touch with your brother now, James. Great question. Gail, to Christina, let's stay with you, Christina. We will be emailing you this evening to begin our process to engage with your services for our D7 process. And we are looking forward to the next steps. That'll be Gail and Dwight. Marianne did a great job in helping us with our NIFs in Porto. So NIFs fairly straightforward. How's the situation with bank accounts now? And Daniel also might want to chip in here.
Oh yeah, definitely. Some banks are harder than others. Daniel did found out a way out. So yeah, I'll give that back to him.
Well,
Daniel.
we were working with Millennium BCP, then we switched gears to Novo Banco. Novo Banco was taking 2.5 months to with compliance issues. And now we are dealing, surprise, surprise, with the public bank, CGD, and they are being proficient in opening the accounts. They're not being too stringent. It takes I would say a week and a half to 2 weeks to have the account opened, but it's indeed possible. So things are not looking as grim as they were a few months back, that we did have a lot of bank accounts stalled and property deals stalled as well, because we were not able to open accounts in a timely fashion. But things are, I would say, selling better. It's
Okay,
smooth.
good to hear that. That's good news. That's in the right direction. That's what we want. Alison and Michael asking, back to you, Christina, hypothetically, how long would you expect the consulate workers' strike to last? It's not the consulates necessarily, is it? Is there an average resolve for the many strikes that occur in Portugal? I know it seems like that. If we have our VFS appointment scheduled in mid-May, should we be fretting about this? Christina, can we have some reassurance here? Because it's not consulates, is it? This is CEF staff in the capital.
Yeah, there was a rumor about consulates going on strike as well, and apparently they will also go on strike, but for a short period of time, also because of this transition, we hope. So hopefully it will only be for the 5th and the 6th. The 7th is a holiday, so by the end of that weekend, hopefully everything will be back to normal.
Okay, there you go. I hope that's reassuring for you, Alison and Michael. Let's go to Jacqueline. Does your group handle does your group handle processing of a small remodeling loan on a property in Portugal that will not have a mortgage on it and would be paid in full upon closing? I'm not sure if you've seen this, Jacqueline, already, or can you suggest which banks would allow that on a property? If not, can you help?
No, we can help there. We help people to do remodeling. So it's a bit subject to, do you need any licenses from the city town hall because you're going to do something at the exterior, or if it's internal, like bathrooms, that kind of stuff, then usually you don't need licenses, so that makes it quicker. But if the property is mortgage free, so that's quite essential there, yes, you can get a loan for remodeling works being done, and we have helped people with that. So please do reach out to me directly and we'll see what we can do.
There you go, Gail. And Jacqueline has put her details in the chat here. I don't know if anyone's able to copy and paste these to the YouTube link as well. You folks on YouTube, I'll get to you as soon as I possibly can. And that won't be long from now. I think we've got a question from Ken over here on Zoom. We got our NIFs during our Christmas trip. How long does it take to open a bank account? How much it is required to open one? I don't think we addressed that. We talked more generally, didn't we, about bank accounts? Christine, how long is it taking? If you can find one that will open one for you, how long does it take and how much money do you need to put in there?
Well, to be quite honest, it depends on the bank.
Right. Roughly.
Well, it depends on the profile. It depends on the bank. So I would say the easiest way out to open up a bank account is, if you can make the trip to Portugal, just do it here. If you can't make that trip to Portugal, find an international branch in your country and try to do it there. If not, then doing it remotely, depending on which bank you choose, well, it can take a month, and then necessary deposit can vary between 250 to 7,000.
Right.
No-
Okay. So by far the best way is to have a little scouting trip and maybe kill a few birds with one stone, not literally. When in Portugal, we don't do that. And get that bank account open and attend to a few other things as well while you're here. That will be the best thing to do. And then a bank with an international branch in your own country would be the second best bet. And then the third is the circuitous route of doing it remotely, which may bring in other levels of bureaucracy. There you go, Ken. I hope that helps. Let's go to YouTube now. Patricia is asking, you were first in, Patricia. It's good to get in early on the Dream Team nights, it would seem. I had my D7 CEF appointment end of December. It took 3 months to get my card without asking for extra documents. After getting the card, it turned out the country of birth is wrong. Oh, no. So I went to CEF this week to correct it. They cancelled my current card and gave me a new paper until I received the new card. My question is, how long will it take to receive the new card? 3 months again?
Yep.
Oh, Patricia wasn't hoping for that answer, I'm sure, but you think 3 months?
That is the deadline. So yeah.
Oh, so they need
It
they
could
need
take 3 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
so they need to have done it within 3 months by law, and then you can start asking more questions, but you've got to give them up to 3 months to do that. And they might be going to the wire by the sound of it with all the demand there. Sorry, Patricia, it's not better news. Alan is here this evening. Hello, Dream Team, from Alan in Thailand. Fantastic. Lynn, hey, I am a resident in Portugal on a D7. What is the minimum stay requirement to be eligible to apply for the citizenship after 5 years? I heard that I can leave only 2 months a year. Is it true? Is this one for Daniel?
Well, I can pass that on to him. Yes, please do.
Go, Daniel.
Well, as long as the residency permit is renewed, the applicant will be able to request a nationality after 5 years of having the residency permit, 5 years in a day. To have the residency permit renewed, basically what's stated in the law is that you either spend 6 months at a row in Portugal per period of residency permit. So if the residency permit is indeed 2 years, you need to spend at least 6 months, or a total of 8 months. This does not make a lot of sense after they did change the law, because usually the residency permits, the sequence was 1 year, 2 years, 2 years. So this did a bit more sense when the sequence was this one, 1, 2, 2. Nowadays, the sequence is 2 and 3. So the first residency permit is actually valid for 2 years, and the one after that valid for 3 years. But as a rule of thumb, if you have the NHR, because tax purposes or the tax rules are different from the migration rules, but if you are a tax resident in Portugal, if you have the NHR, and if you're a D7, if all these ifs do pan out, it's 6 months per year, because the tax rule needs to be respected. So 6 months in, 6 months out, and you will be eligible for tax residency, NHR, and you will of course respect the minimum permanence time of the D7. And of course, you will be able to obtain the Portuguese nationality later down the line. Don't forget about the Portuguese language test. And this test can be done before the 5 years have elapsed, because it doesn't have an expiry date. So if you're able to pass the test on year 3 or 4, perfect, because on year 5+1 day, we can be delivering the nationality application within the civil registry here in Portugal.
Wonderful. I think that will come as music to Lynn's ears. So it's not just the 2 months a year. So excellent stuff. Thank you, Daniel. Now, Christina, Daniel, this rumor about the language test that's going round and that people over a certain age don't have to do it. Is there any truth in that? Why are you laughing?
No, just a straightforward no. Basically, what's stated in the law is the following. If you are above 60 and by any chance you didn't have the opportunity of going to school, you can have a language test that is easy, so it's not a written language test, but this is basically if you didn't went to school, which poses a serious problem, but because you can prove that you're educated, you can prove that you have a master's or that you finished high school, but how do you prove that you are not educated, that you didn't learn to write or read properly? So this is what we usually call in law an escape valve of the system, or a window of the system, to allow certain people that do live in Portugal for quite a while, especially people connected with the old Portuguese colonies that didn't have the opportunity to study, but it was just not correct not to provide those people the access for the Portuguese nationality. So basically, what happened was a solution that allows people to obtain the Portuguese nationality, but this is a difficult proof that needs to be done, that you were not able to go to school. So there's that rumor circulating. We've answered this question for several of our clients, but it's basically, or you are unfortunate enough not to have the opportunity to go to school, and you can prove this in any way, or you will need to pass on the Portuguese language test in all its aspects, written, spoken Portuguese, as well as the listening part.
That's why you were laughing, because you were imagining, like me, groups of American expats sitting around saying, hey, guess what I heard? If you're over 60, you don't have to do the language test anymore. Not true.
Were flooded. I was laughing because we were flooded in the last, I would say, few months with questions like that. It's probably circulating in a blog or somewhere, and we have indeed some queries regarding that.
Fantastic. Right. I've got a real treat for you. We're going to have a black mold finale tonight. So the last question will be, as we go around the panel to thank them, what do you do with black mold as people who live in Portugal? You couldn't wish for a better panel to answer this question with their secrets and tips for dealing with this situation that Barak is bringing to our attention. That will be the final question. You can prepare yourselves or go get your bottle of white vinegar or whatever it is you use for it. Sarah is excused for this because I don't suppose she would have experienced it on her brief holidays here. But I think everyone else can probably answer that question. Let's get back to YouTube. Suze, good afternoon. Question: I have EU health card from Finland, or I have an EU health card from Finland. It will be good until the end of this year. Do I still need additional health insurance with an application for a job seeker visa? That's interesting. So coming from North America, but having an existing card from a Finland residency, would that satisfy the requirements of health cover, Christina?
It won't.
Okay.
But the thing is, with any type of visa, what you need is travel insurance, because it needs to cover repatriation or medical evacuation. You will not be repatriated to Finland if you are applying from the US.
Right. Yes. Fair point. Canada, I think. Yeah. Okay. Yes. All right. So there you go. Nice try. And Suze also says, I will get a criminal record check as required here in Canada as soon as I get released from prison. Only kidding. He says, okay, looking on the bright side tonight. Thank you, Suze. Kathy, your request was granted. Yes, let's meet Christina's kitties. Well, we met one of them at least. Michael with a great question. What's the cost for the interviews with the VFS and CEF per person, Christina?
Well, that depends on your nationality, to be quite honest.
Oh, right. Okay. Can you give us a ballpark, maybe for North Americans?
Daniel, can you remember the number? Because I can't. to be quite
I
honest.
think for the visa is around 200 something, and for the residency permits in total is around 400 euros. So in the ballpark of 500 to 600 euros total visa plus residency permit.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Cheers, Christina. Noor is in YouTube as well tonight. Good evening. I've got an AHR question. I got my D7 residency card. Oh yeah, it's that time of year, isn't it? I got my D7 residency card on the 16th of March, and I didn't change my address on my NIF to a Portuguese address yet. That means I still have until the 31st of March 2024 to apply for the NHR. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I was thinking that he was going to, do I only go, like, need to do it like by tomorrow? And I was preparing myself to, oh my God, you're in big trouble, man. No, it is 2024. Okay.
So without that change of address, that gives you leave of making that move until the 31st of March 2024. Daniel, I think, wants to add something to that.
Yes, I do. Well, for everyone that is listening to us and that became a tax resident in 2022, please do request your NHR or talk with us to request it until tomorrow, because the deadline indeed ends tomorrow if you became a tax resident in Portugal in 2022. If you did indeed only change your tax residency to Portugal in 2023, you have until the 31st of March of 2024 to change the tax residency and to request the NHR. So if you came to Portugal last year and became a tax resident, the deadline is tomorrow. If you need any assistance, let us know, okay?
Daniel, there are two types of people watching now: those who are quite relieved and happy, and those who are thinking, right, okay, all
You
right.
have one day.
Yes,
You got a whole day, yeah.
plenty
It's
of
a long-
time.
Come on.
long time in Portugal. Thank you for your reassurance there, Jacqueline. We have Debbie Diver. Hello from Florida, hoping to move to Portugal in 2024. We're looking forward to seeing you then, Debbie. OLP, Oregonians loving Portugal. Question for Nunu: Can you get your health insurance from you for our vacation? Nunu, are you there? It's going to be.
Yes, I am. Well, health insurance only for the vacation period is not possible.
Oh,
For
not
that,
yet.
my suggestion is a travel insurance covering medical expenses.
Okay, from country of origin.
Yes, because the health insurance is always a yearly cover.
Okay, I'm glad you asked, OLP, and a great answer. Thank you, Nunu, for that. All right, fantastic. Thank you for that. Did you want to add anything to that, or should we move on?
Regarding the travel and the health?
Yeah, I think
No,
you've nailed it there, haven't you? You've nailed it there. Thank you. Foreign Affair asking on YouTube: Hi, I'm going with a digital nomad visa from South America. First entrance is Madrid. If I go with family, they are going as tourists. You think that would be problematic at the airport? What sort of problems can be anticipated with that, Christina?
Well, I don't think it'll have a problem per se with at the airport, but I would say if you are still back there and you already have your visa, just request the new visa, which has the most boring name, which is a residency visa to escort someone with a residency visa. It's a thing. It exists.
That's a long acronym, isn't it?
Get that. It will be easier than doing a family reunification process here in Portugal. We don't know how the SCF is going to be. Currently, there are no appointments. You don't want to leave your family in the limbo. Do that. Move fast. Contact us.
Right. Thank you for that, Christine. That's wonderful. Thank you, Jerry, as well. By the way, as well as the whole dream team assembled here for your pleasure and information tonight, we've got Astrid and Jerry working behind the scenes too. Thank you for taking that one, Jerry, about the difficulties and is it really worth bringing a car to Portugal from the USA. Thank you for taking care of that. I think Jerry tends to say no to that, very problematic. And Jerry, of course, will be opening the batting on next Thursday's webinar as the various regions of Portugal fight for supremacy. Jerry is the current champion with Central Portugal, and it will be a knockout to the death to see which is the best part of Portugal to live in. And you'll be able to vote on that live next Thursday night. It's going to be a great evening. We're moving towards that black mold moment, everybody. Barack says, I keep hearing Portuguese is a very difficult language. If you want a proper hard language, try Hebrew. So there you go. Stop moaning about Portuguese. It could be worse. Thank you very much. Let's go back to YouTube. Nubianet is here tonight. And also Chris has a question about his 5-year residency anniversary. If I want to extend my residency for another 10 years, what is the process? So not going for citizenship by the sound of it. What does Capricorn Chris need to do after the 5-year residency anniversary? This is somebody who's come from UK, Christina, which might help.
So they have a 5-year residency now, and then they don't want to go for the long-term residency nor citizenship?
I think not. So what should they do?
If that's the case, they will just have to renew that current residency permit that they have.
Yeah.
Which is still the SEF. And if it was before Brexit, I do believe it will get renewed for another 5 years. Daniel, can you correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
Daniel,
totally
I want
correct.
to add
It's
to
gonna
that.
be renewed for 5 years. It's a permanent residency card, valid for 5 years and renewed every 5 years.
Some people got 10-year cards, did they not, with the Brexit portal?
I am not aware of that. To be honest.
Was that another rumor that was going around, perhaps? Okay,
Well,
maybe.
I haven't seen one of 10 years, to be honest,
Okay.
and I do find that a bit odd. But well, I would like to see one.
I'm
curious
deferring.
now.
I'm deferring to your expert knowledge on that. It was just something I heard, probably read on Facebook. So disregard that. Okay.
That's how rumors start.
I know.
Just-
I know. Yeah. Don't forget that, everybody. I didn't say that. I don't want to be the guy who started that rumor. I'm sorry I even mentioned it. Okay, Chris, thank you for that. Kathy says, thank you for showing us Phoebe. She's beautiful. Was that the one with the one blue eye, one green eye? Oh, stop it, everybody, with the pets. We do a moment at past. We can't make the whole show about people's pets here.
Yeah, that's the one.
I'm the keeper of the likes. And due to the fact that this is a super session, I'm asking people to hit that like button. Well said, Chris. Give it a thumbs up, guys. And advice and knowledge here is off the chart like. So yeah, please subscribe and get notifications for what's coming up on Expats Portugal while you're about it. Suze, not sure if there is time today. Who do I get travel insurance with? No. Planning to get SEF appointment with Portuguese Embassy in Vancouver soon. Would it be retroactive to visa approval date? I think there's that's a wrong timeline there, isn't it? That's not going to happen, is it, Christina?
No.
But the answer to the first part is travel insurance for vacations, the earlier answer. But for the first part of the SEF, definitely speak to Nuno about that. Correct, Nuno?
Sorry, I'm a little bit lost about the question.
First part of the D7, you have a specific product for that, don't you?
Yes, the travel incoming insurance that fully complies with the Portuguese requirements. That
perfect. Thank you. Winsurance.pt or email Nuno at iamsafe@winsurance.pt. Antonio F is here. Boa noite, everyone. And Chris Latham. If I have a NIF but haven't moved to Portugal or become a resident yet, no tax reporting needed, correct? That's a good question, Chris. Christina or Daniel, who wants to take that? Christina, I think.
Well, I'll probably take it. If the person has an if and doesn't have any property that generates income or a company incorporated in Portugal, just an if, no taxation is needed to report in Portugal. But if you do buy a house and you're renting it or doing Airbnb, if you're generating any source of income connected with Portugal, as for instance a company, then tax reports on the income generated in the country will need to be delivered over here, and on the country of origin the income will need to be declared. So it's a double reporting that needs to be done on the country of the generation of the income and on the country of the tax residency.
There you go. That's for Chris. Brilliant, Daniel. Thank you. That's for Chris and Pandashi 808. Food Huntress. I don't think we can help with this. I need a Portuguese sugar daddy so I can leave Florida. Ha ha. If you are a sugar daddy in Florida and you cannot help Food Huntress, you'll have to do that separately. And Expats Portugal cannot be liable for any results that arise thereof. Not a rumor. People have got 10 years. I was told on the Brexit helpline that the 10-year cards were only available to people that had been in Portugal for more than 5 years, part of the WABC. So there you go. Thank you very much for fanning the flames of that rumor, Chris. Please, Daniel, can you talk a bit about the AL news for those desperate to know?
Well, it's still up to debate, so it was not yet approved. But what the Prime Minister said today, he did take things a notch down, because what was basically disclosed the first time is that they would kill the AL new licenses for the full country, and in 2030 all the licenses would be up to review. What's in discussion at the current moment is that on low density areas, it's all good, and this is sensible. So you can always obtain a new AL license in low density areas. In high density areas, this will be up to the municipality to decide. And the municipalities like Lisbon and Porto already are opposed to it. So I do bet that all the other municipalities will follow suit, because no one will wish to not get on the AL bandwagon. So I just think it's a poster law, and it will not serve any purpose because the full majority out of the municipalities in Portugal will not apply it. Maybe Lisbon in some parishes and some freguesias will carry on not issuing new licenses. And I think this is sensible, because in Santa Maria Maior, for instance, you have more than 60% with AL, and this is not sensible. This doesn't make a lot of sense. But for other cities, it doesn't make any sense, for instance, in Caldas da Rainha to ban AL, because there's not the scarcity in properties is not that big in Caldas da Rainha. So equilibriums will need to be struck, and this is up to the municipalities to decide. So this new proposal is a bit more sensible than what was being discussed, especially because it doesn't have the same well, it doesn't judge the rest of the country as if we were in Lisbon, because Lisbon is suffering an AL problem. Indeed it is, but the rest of the country is not, and people in the rest of the country should be able to do business and to profit from tourism. It's not Portugal is more than Lisbon and Porto, but sometimes politicians take time to perceive this.
Very good. Beware of poster laws, everybody. That's fantastic,
Yes.
Daniel. And that's the last of the main questions. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more exciting, we're going to talk about black mold now. Sarah, as I said, we're going to go to each of you as I thank you for being here tonight. And if you could keep it brief, that would be fantastic. I need to duck out at 10, says somebody there. I'll do my best. And I can't see who that was, but let's go. Oh, Wiley, black mold. Before you go, what's your solution?
Okay, so in many of the houses that I have found that don't have any issues of mold, it's because that they have strong sunlight on at least 2 to 3 sides of the house. So if you only have a house, that if you have an east-west with a south-facing house, I see very little mold in the houses because they're so warm on the outside. So that's been an experience I've had. The lower levels of the houses have more mold. So where does it exist? That's been my experience here. In the houses or apartments. The apartments that are on the lower level or on the back level, the north side of the house, have more mold because it doesn't get the sunlight.
A buyer's agent perspective. Thank you for that. Did you want to add more?
And then if you do have it, then I'm a proponent of vinegar and baking soda over Clorox.
There you go. Fantastic. I agree with you on that. Wiley, thank you so much for being here. I understand you've got to go. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Love to guys. Let's go to Sarah just to say thank you. I don't think you've got much experience of black mold. I certainly hope you haven't, Sarah. People can open a free account at spartanfx.co.uk.
Yes, that's right. It's free to open. There's no obligation to use us, but please do have a chat, especially if you're, looking at moving money in the next, obviously, 12 months. There's a lot of volatility we've seen at the moment, and there's probably more to come, and we can help manage those payments. You can buy your euros before you need them, even if you've not got a Portuguese bank account, and we can fix the rate for those property purchases and help you save money. I mean, just as an example, in the last month, the rate movement on 250,000 euros selling US dollars and buying euros, the difference is about 8,000. And that's just in the last 4 weeks. And that's just purely through rate movement. But overall, it's not all doom and gloom. It's still, if you look back at the last 6 or even 20 years, it's still good times to be buying euros and selling US dollars. But we can help with all that. Please do get in touch.
Great. $8 grand. That's a lot of white vinegar. Cheers, Sarah. Take care. Bye
Thank
for now.
you.
See you in Portugal soon, I hope. Fantastic. Let's go to Peter van Noonen, Central Portugal. Is it a problem there? What do you do about it, Peter?
Never seen it, Carl, in central Portugal. Did you?
I did a little bit, putting me on the spot.
Yeah, I
there.
did. I did as well. No, just joking.
Right.
It's
Oh,
it's
okay.
an issue.
Well,
It's
wow.
an issue. But to be honest, it's an issue, and yeah, what we always advise and do ourselves is have a thorough inspection, and preferably not only look at houses when it's when it's high summer, because then this of course doesn't appear a lot, but also in other seasons. But the main thing is do a good inspection, and of course there are also some construction issues that can be applied, and then lots of times this issue will disappear.
Superb.
Talking about good insulation, double glass, and what have you. So that's something that can be done.
Thank you. You got me completely there, Peter.
Hi, Carl. Can I offer something?
Of course you can.
I learned something today, which is there's antibacterial, anti-mold paint that you could buy for the home. So
Excellent. Okay, good to
know
know.
about
Thank you for
that.
that.
I just
Thank
found
you.
out about that today.
That needs to go up in the forum. Definitely. expatsportugal.com/community. Thank you very much for that, Jackie. Good to see you here. Peter, thank you. You can be found on the expatsportugal.com website as well in the business directory, the Portugal company. Thank you for being here tonight, Peter. I'm rushing a little bit because we're over time, but thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. Let's go to Jacqueline. A problem in Rio as well as in Portugal. What do you do about it in this climate?
I'm not going to comment on the subjects. I think I have more valuable. I think everyone already is giving good advice, and I'm definitely not the expert. But yes,
I can't make you go there, can I? With the black box?
No.
Okay.
No. I want to just add that thanks to Daniel for pointing out that tomorrow's your last day, so everyone hurry and rush to Daniel. So he's the lifesaver, not me. But can I just add a very short thing on the bank account?
Yes, you
because
can.
we can help there.
Please do.
Yeah. So it's actually illegal for the bank workers to open an account on distance. It says so by law. So that's why you have so much struggle getting it done.
Okay.
But we can help there, and we have some banks who are willing to do it, usually part of getting the mortgage. So they will do some in-between solution. They're very creative, Portuguese mindset type of thing. Like they need at some point to identify you physically in the branch, in any branch of that bank, to prevent the whole thing of identity theft and things like that. So it's, set out by the Central Bank of Portugal. But they can open the account ready for you, and then we will do it under the condition that at some point you're going to show your face in one of the branches to make, to complete the process. And then they tick their boxes. So we could potentially help there. But so you know why they're not being particularly difficult about it. It's just that they're breaking the law, and their job could be on the line. So that's why someone is not.
Thank you for pointing that out. That's really helpful. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and evening in Rio, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Obrigada.
Obrigado. Thank you very much. Cheers. That's Jacqueline. Let's go to Daniel. Your advice on this matter, as briefly as possible.
Bleach. That's my advice.
Oh,
and
the
then the what do you call it? The dehumidifier just working full time in that compartment until all the humidity is out. And once the spring and summer comes up, open the windows and let some fresh air entering the property. That's
learn to live like a Portuguese person, because it is a cultural adjustment. You will have to manage your house in a different way. That's a really good point. Thank you, Daniel, for being here. Thank you for bringing your dog along. And you can find Daniel, of course, in the business directory. Our legal man in Lisbon. Thank you so much for being here. Nuno, do you have something to say on this matter? There's no insurance against it, is there?
Oh, yes. No insurance against that. But if you are renovating the house, or if you are constructing a house, take care of the cold bridges, because you can use double glasses and the good insulation. But if you still keep bridges between the outside and the interior, it will create mold, no matter how good is the insulation.
Right.
So talk with an engineer or an architect, because they know about this.
Superb. I see, fantastic. I'm glad I asked. Incredible advice coming in from all sorts of angles here. I think finally then, thank you, Nuno, for being here tonight. Really appreciate you. Oh, the doctor will have something to say on this. You need to get rid of it, don't you, in the house? It can cause a serious health problem. Dr. Averbuk.
Yeah, don't inhale.
Don't inhale. Okay, good advice in all areas of
Sorry.
life. Okay.
Don't lick it.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't go so far, but yeah.
Okay.
Don't lick it either.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Averbuk. And thanks again for that fabulous earlier session, which will be on the Expats Portugal YouTube channel. And we will publish it up there so that you can see that for yourself if you didn't catch it earlier on. Thank you, Dr. Michael. Love to the team. Finally, then, and I hope I haven't missed anybody, Christina had a bit of a life hack around the black mold.
Oh, hi. Well, once again, welcome to Portugal. One good, wonderful product, Sif Blurs. I wrote it down in the chat. Pretty much you spray that all over the mold. You go back, have a coffee, have a drink, whatever. Come back after a couple of minutes, not couple, like 10, 20 minutes. Mold's gone. You just wipe the walls and whatever with just a napkin.
There you go, Daniel. Don't need to use that particular product, and Christina wants you to leave some in the supermarket for her. And we love that solution. We love that solution. It's very Portuguese. It involves coffee. Fantastic. Good job, everybody. Thank you. Dream Team panel. You've been amazing. Big round of applause.
Yeah.
Superb job. Thank you very much indeed. Jerry or Astrid, did you want to say anything finally here?
Yes, Astrid, I think, has left us to pick her daughter up from basketball. But no doubt she's listening in the car on YouTube. Again, just to add my thanks to everybody, and thanks to you, Carl, for an excellent job at hosting both our webinars tonight. Next webinar is on Saturday night at 9 p.m. Lisbon time, which is a social chaired by the lovely Connie and her junior trainee assistant, Hank, who works on the IT side of things. And that'll be a bit of fun and a laugh, and usually goes on way past midnight, but you don't have to stay up that long if you don't wish to. And then following that on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Lisbon time, we will start another round of the great debate, as Carl mentioned earlier, which is the best region of mainland Portugal to live in. And we have 5 people who are going to champion each of the 5 regions. And there's going to be a lot of blood and guts and so on. So that should be quite interesting. And that will be followed again by our wonderful dream team at 9 p.m. Lisbon time. So thank you all. Have a lovely evening. See you in Portugal.
Thank you, Jerry.